Good job. Hi. And today we're going to be telling our my labor and delivery story. Ew. Today we're going to be sharing my labor and delivery story. So stay tuned. Okay, so it all started weeks leading up to the day I had Elena, right? I never know how to say it because I don't know if I should say gave birth, because I technically didn't give birth. I had a cesarean, so I had her. I didn't birth. I don't know what's the correct wording for it, but who cares? Point is, she's here. Now, around 31 weeks, my doctor told me that she was breech. Breech means that her head was facing like back, her head wasn't down ready for delivery, it was up, so like this, she was like this, sitting chilling in my belly. It was significantly frustrating for me as a first-time mom because I wanted to have a natural birth. I wanted to push out my daughter. I didn't want to have a C-section. Why should I, but unless God worked a miracle, it was going to have to be my reality. It wasn't in God's plans. So one of my last hopes was to do a EVR, external version something. I'll post it. Now what this procedure does is that it has me go to this doctor, and this doctor, I guess with other doctors, they try to physically move my baby's position from outside of my belly. Yes, I did that because I wanted to have a natural birth. Right, baby girl? Yes. What were we trying to do? Natural. Yes. All right, I was supposed to give birth up in Yonkers, and the doctor who was like the best at this procedure was working in Manhattan, New York for this day. All right, so they were like, your last chance is going to be when you're 38 weeks. After that, we're going to do the C-section. So this appointment was scheduled for August 22nd, right? On a Thursday. My C-section with my doctor in Yonkers was scheduled for that following Monday at like 6 a.m. August 26th. All right, so I go to this appointment. I am nervous, but I'm like, you know what, this could be it. Like, they could flip my baby and then I won't even have to have a C-section and we could have a natural birth. Yes, exactly. Keeping up with my energy, I appreciate you. So at about 11:30 that day, and I was nervous, but I was hopeful. I was still like, you know what, God can still do his thing. Don't be sleeping on my God. You know what I'm saying? So I'm there, they hook me up to, excuse me, we don't do that. What's wrong with you? Get it right, child. Get it? Yes. Okay, you feeling yourself or whatever. Okay, I'm here for it, girl. My child, she's turning 1, so she don't know how to act now. I'm just going to let the pictures take it from here, and I'll do voiceover starting now. I had to move her this time for real, starting now. So as you can see here, I got to the hospital at 11:47. I was there taking some last minute pictures and of my setup and stuff, texting them to my baby father, Jesse, and whatnot. Mind you, this whole time I'm there by myself because they wouldn't let my friend Delmari come up with me. He gets there like 4:38. Hold on, before I begin, I know y'all saw my lashes via like a picture ago. Let's talk about it. My lashes and my brows were done. Like, hello, was nobody gonna look crazy in this story of mine? And my husband knew that about me. Like, hello, ladies, get yourself a winner, but not mine because he's mine. Get your own. Thank you. Anyways, moving on with my story. So I'm back to help fill in some gaps. You're probably wondering, like, how the heck you went from getting there for an appointment to do this whole turning thing to having your husband pull up at 4:38 p.m. I'm gonna explain right now. See, what had happened was that after they done left me there from 11:47 to 4 p.m. and change, I was literally sitting there with like no food, no water, no ice, no nothing. Like, how was that supposed to like be okay or whatever? So all of a sudden they're like telling me, mind you, this is not the hospital I had planned to give birth at. They're like, listen, the baby's too big, you know, like this is very risky. Like, you gotta sign all these waivers, you know, like there's a chance that you might have the baby today. And I'm like, what? Like, what is going on? Like, too much information is being thrown at me. Like, I'm a whole pregnant person that hasn't ate all day. Like, you're so lucky I'm not being nasty to you right now. Like, at which point they're like, you know, just in case, you know, you know, after the procedure you go into labor or we have to have the baby, you know, something goes wrong, you should call your husband. So I call my husband. I'm like, yeah, there's a chance we're having the baby today. I need you to come. So he gets there, like I said, at 4:38, and at about 5 o'clock, I want to say, give or take, they take me to the OR, the operating room. And after 45 minutes of trying, they say that it was unsuccessful, and I started to cry, and I was so frustrated. They were like, she's too big, she doesn't have space to turn. And I felt like so defeated. Like, even though it had absolutely nothing to do with me, it had everything to do with me, and I was so upset. I was so mad. So after they deemed the procedure unsuccessful, they're like, your your blood pressure is elevated, and we just need to let you know that if you leave and something can happen to the baby. So I'm like, listen, at this point, I'm like, I went 38 weeks, right? Excuse you, what are you doing, sister? You about to drop my whole setup. They're like, your blood pressure is elevated, and if you leave, something can happen to the baby. Like, why would you say that to me? Like, granted, again, this is not the hospital I was supposed to give birth in. So I'm like, you're putting fear in my heart. So I told my husband, and they're like, if you want, we could have a baby today. Which, thinking back at it now, it's just like, you wanted like that money to come in for you to have a whole child that day, but whatever. So we're like, we're about to have a baby. So they're like, get ready for OR. We're having a baby. So my pictures are coming back because I forgot. So again, let's talk about it. I was not there for like 10 minutes when they already had me messed up. Okay, listen up. Again, must I remind ya, not the hospital I plan to give birth in. So I'm there, whatever, and they administered the epidural, which I was also really adamant about not getting, but here we are. They gave me the epidural, and they gave me some antibiotics, I guess, to get me. I guess they administered them at the same time or within a close time of one another, and I started breaking out in hives. Bro. Hives. As if I wasn't already swollen. Alright? And then the worst thing was that they didn't even notice that I broke out in hives. So my husband's like, excuse me, doctor. My husband, if you know my husband, he's like, I'm like loud and like ratchet. He's super like mellow and like calm. So he's like, excuse me, doctor, my wife is breaking out in hives. And at this point, I'm like in another world. So I'm like, huh? And I'm just crying because I'm still tight. I'm having a C-section. So they couldn't, basically, point is that they didn't even know what medicine it was that made me break out in hives, because like it happened at the same time. So they couldn't differentiate which one it was. So I had my princess. Hi, mommy. You came out of mommy's belly. Hi, mama. So cute. Let's take it back real quick. Elena Rose was born August 22nd, 2019, weighing 9 pounds, 1 ounce, and she was absolutely beautiful. I won't even hold you. She was born with a birthmark on her right wrist and on her leg, and I remember side-eyeing the nurses, and they were like, it could be a bruise, it will go away in a couple of days, but we think it's a birthmark. So that was super funny. But yes, we were super in love from the moment that we saw her, and everything was great. We were in the hospital Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday we were scheduled to leave. But of course, however, I developed an infection and doctors could not tell where it was coming from. And so on the very day where we were supposed to be discharged, instead I was being given antibiotics and on a machine. I was also particularly frustrated because, again, I'll remind y'all one more time that I wasn't even supposed to give birth in this hospital, and I was sharing the room with some ladies. So this picture right here actually is when they finally moved me to my own room after I was nasty for a couple of days. So I have this infection. I can't go home. And on top of that, I'm still, prior to that last picture, I'm still in a room with a woman who was mad annoying. And I was like, listen, if I don't have postpartum depression right now, y'all about to put me there if y'all don't give me my own room. So I was pretty adamant I got my own room. But then, you know, my problems continued. So me, I have like very like not traceable or not seeable, I don't know what the term is, but you can't really see my veins. So nurses always have a hard time. So, you know, at first me trying to be positive, you know, there's a purpose in everything, you know, God got me, you know, I'm letting them do what they gotta do. And they're sticking me with doggone needles over and over again. And then I guess there's like this max that you can't try more than this amount of time, so then they will call somebody else, and then that person couldn't, so they will call somebody else, to the point where like I was like, if you do not know what you're doing, I need the best needle stickler here, because I'm done. I'm so done. And like it was just terrible. It was just terrible. I remember having visitors one day, and the nurse came in to like put an IV, and in the middle of my whole visit I just started bawling because I was so frustrated. Like, if you can't see it, why are you sticking me with a needle? More pictures to follow. They were administering different antibiotics because they didn't know what was going on, until they gave me the wrong one day. And I was complaining to the nurses about it, and no one came to my rescue. So I actually ended up taking off my baby's alarm and shutting down the floor because I refused to be in pain. I had burning sensation in my veins and nobody was answering me, and I refused to be another accident in a hospital. And so I most definitely took matters into my own hands, and this was my reality for a couple of days. I was literally hooked up to a machine and doing everything in this fashion. I really don't know if the antibiotic that they gave me that caused my veins to burn was the same one that they gave me during my C-section. It can be, but it could also be that was just another antibiotic that I was allergic to. But I refused to be neglected, and I refused to be silenced about what I was feeling. I didn't need anybody to validate my pain, and if they weren't gonna listen, I was gonna make somebody listen to me. So one day I remember going down to an MRI to figure out what was going on, if they can pinpoint the infection. And in all of this, I mean, I just kept holding on to God's promise. I just kept believing God. And one day the fever didn't come back, and the next day it didn't come back either. And they were trying to pin me some crazy diagnoses. They were like, you have preeclampsia. I'm like, no, I do not. Like, I have no symptoms of preeclampsia. And they was just trying to figure out, like, trying to pin something so that they can like feel like they solved the case. Like, no, it's not what I have, and I was not gonna accept that, you know. I was not gonna speak that upon my life. So my fever went away, and we were able to leave the hospital after, I believe we left August 30th. So she was 8 days. So I was in the hospital for 8 days. It felt like 3 weeks. But we made it. We made it, and here we all giving God glory. Hallelujah. Glory. Hallelujah. 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 That's my baby.
She doesn't like that.
I'd rather not.
Talk loud.
Un besito a tu mamá. Un besito. Un besito a tu mamá. Yeah, you love me? I love you. Say bye. Bye. Say thank you for listening. You say bye. Bye.